film Baby Driver, released in 2017, is an action thriller film that pushes the boundaries of where the viewer's experience of the soundtrack ends and where their experience of the scene begins. Unlike most films, where music is used to accentuate the emotions a viewer experiences during a scene, Baby Driver includes music as part of the scene itself. I believe this is a good example of the film's general approach to storytelling, and that a lot of the more subtle elements commonly found in film are foregone in favor of giving the viewer a bold viewing experience. The film Baby Driver doesn't explore much in the way of deep narratives or compellingly unique storylines, but it does explore the ways in which the medium can be used to take familiar tropes and present them in a way that is fresh and exciting, which I believe makes it worth watching for the experience. Baby Driver was the creation of director Edgar Wright, who, during an interview in a behind the scenes video, has said, "It started with me listening to a song." Wright had been envisioning the film for 20 years before production began in 2016, and as such, the film is, in many ways, the culmination of Wright's personal style of directing. Baby Driver is an action thriller film. The trailer, featuring energetic music, fast-paced car chases, and dramatic dialogue, is clearly marketed as such. It advertises people who enjoy such film genres. The film follows the story of a young man who has unwittingly found himself involved in dangerous criminal activity, and as the story plays out, the main character, Baby, faces the ups and downs of his struggles to escape this life. Baby Driver premiered at a film festival in March of 2017 and released internationally the following June. While Baby Driver does explore the boundaries of the medium, it does not try to explore the boundaries of the genre. Many of the plot lines in the movie are ones that the viewer will recognize from many other stories they would be familiar with. For example, the film follows such a trend as young lovers falling in love at first sight and wanting to run away together. This plotline is probably the worst example of the ways a film fails to deliver a unique narrative. The romance presented is unfortunately bland and uninspiring, with no real characterization of the main character's designated love interest beyond the ways in which she happens to be the perfect match for Baby.
So when was the last time you hit the road just for fun?
Yesterday.
I'm jealous. Sometimes all I want to do is head west on 20 in a car I can't afford with a plan I don't have. Just me, my music, and the road.
I'd like that too.
In the same way, many of the events in the story are without detail or elaboration in a way that almost seems to imply that the narrative is relying on the viewer's own familiarity with the tropes to fill in the rest. It also has many predictable moments in these plotlines with very few surprises in the film's narrative. However, luckily for the viewer, the plot is not the main draw of the film. Instead, what makes this movie interesting is the way in which the medium is used to tell the story in a way that wouldn't be possible in any other form of media. In other words, the story of Baby Driver is not especially interesting, but the way in which the story is told is interesting. On one hand, the actors in the film all do a great job of bringing the characters to life on the screen, and on the other hand, Edgar Wright uses both the visual and audio aspects of film design to give the viewer a unique experience. For example, there are many occasions in the film where something important to the plot is on screen, but seemingly does not have any attention drawn to it by the scene. This method of presentation gives the viewer the feeling of discovering something for themselves, even when it has purposely been shown to them. In the more obvious instances where the viewer is supposed to notice something immediately, the contradiction between something having such obvious importance and the way that the scene doesn't seem to be acknowledging it yet may give the viewer a feeling of apprehension, wondering how it will come into significance. In the more subtle instances, where it may only be noticeable by someone who is watching the film again, it makes rewatching the film more entertaining as one will notice things they hadn't noticed before.
Boom, boom, boom. It's go time, baby.
How the fuck I look?
Of course, while the film uses many techniques unique to the film genre, everything discussed so far has not been unique to Baby Driver within the film genre. What makes Baby Driver truly unique is the way in which music is used in tandem with the screenplay to present the narrative. While most films use music to accentuate the presentation of the narrative through screenplay, Baby Driver does not just use music to accentuate. Instead, Baby Driver presents the narrative as much through the music as it does through the screenplay. In many cases, the scene is written to fit the music instead of the other way around. This can be seen in the way that action scenes are written such that everything happens to the beat of a song, or in the way that sound effects from the action sound almost identical to the instrumentals that play at the same time. On the other hand, some of the most tense moments in the film happen in the complete absence of music. While silence is often used to make tense moments in film, it feels all the more eerie in Baby Driver because the music is ever present in the rest of the film's important scenes. This is a good example of the way music is used in Baby Driver to make familiar tropes seem fresh and interesting. As a whole, whether or not someone enjoys Baby Driver will likely depend heavily on what they are looking for in a movie. While the usage of the genre makes for an interesting telling of the story, the fact remains that the story itself is largely uninspired. The plot is predictable, and there is little about the narrative that leaves the viewer continuing to think about it after the film ends. However, Baby Driver plays to the strengths that are inherent to the medium of filmmaking, presenting the story in a way that captivates the viewer with techniques that can't be found elsewhere. For this reason, I believe that the Baby Driver accomplishes what it sets out to achieve and is an experience worth having.